listening to The Real. With Rachel D. on WATB 1420. Hey everybody, and welcome to The Real with Rachel D. I'm here with my super fabulous co-host, Miss BJ.
Word up.
And P Money's in the building.
Hey.
Just no enthusiasm, no matter what, huh?
That was enthusiastic.
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
He was so excited when he said it.
I know.
was.
Y'all see how much he loves me? Not at all, but that's okay because I love you. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start the show. Let's get into some tragic news that's kind of taking over everything we want to discuss about the shooting in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was pretty, I don't even want to say dramatic. It was pretty terrible. Like, as you all know, this took place at Las Vegas during a concert. We had a lot of people from all over there. And what's so sad is because it was a concert setting, initially, people didn't even know what was going on.
Yes,
So.
I remember seeing the video, and when you listen to it, I would have never thought that those were gunshots.
Right, especially being in Las Vegas. A lot of people thought they were like firecrackers.
Yeah.
And then not knowing where it was coming from. You don't even know which way to run.
Mm-hmm. And they were coming from above. You know, it wasn't even something on the ground, so you wouldn't have even been able to see it from the ground.
So it was 64-year-old Stephen Paddox. He had opened fire from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel, which faces an open area. It was an open area music festival. It's kind of an arena that they like to have festivals there. It was on during last Sunday. And you know what just frustrates me about this? He was a Caucasian. And the media and, of course, the president is desperately not trying to call this what it is. It's a terrorist attack. He killed over 59 people and probably counting because they said there's still 100 people that's still in the hospital.
Critical, yeah.
And injured over 500 people.
But what's so sad is this dude does not fit the profile. Like, they can't find any religious background. He wasn't. A lot of time when people like go out in a blaze of glory, so to speak, they're like financially bankrupt. People treat them bad. They look funny. I mean, it's just something. It's just something going on to where they're not happy. Like, they're unhappy in a relationship. This dude had like a full-fledged girlfriend. He had no financial troubles. Dude was known as a high baller at the casinos. He was pretty well off, wealthy, retired, lived in a very nice retirement community. He traveled the world. He had no criminal background. I probably had a great credit score. But he carried in, they said, like over 10 suitcases full of artillery.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Like, why?
And there's so many just unanswered questions because, like you said, even though aesthetically he fits the profile, just, what could have possibly been? And then his targets.
Right.
His targets wasn't African Americans or people of color or the gay community like from Orlando. It was country-loving white people.
Yeah.
And so
young, old, just out there with their banjos.
And and it's terrible because I've listened to a lot of interviews. My TV has stayed on CNN every single morning, and to kind of listen to people who have survived it mentioning how they had no idea what's going on. Even the artist who was performing,
Dean,
yes.
Aldine, yes.
And so the first round of shots, he's still performing because him in his head, he's thinking it's fireworks.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's Vegas. Plus, it was the end of the festival, so you know how they go out with a big bang. And they didn't sound like gunshots.
No.
I'm not familiar with what gunshots normally sound like.
Oh,
but
child, I know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so they just sound like little popping noises, and then you don't see anything until people started dropping. And then a lot of times people said that as they ran, that's when he would pick off the ones who was
because
running.
they would separate from the crowd. And the thing is, the reason anyone who's used to gunfire, it sounded different because it was from so high up. So it didn't sound like it would have been a lot louder had it been on the ground, because accompanied with that, you would have seen the flash of light from one area. But because he was 32 floors up and aiming down, the sound kind of, by the time it hit the audience, and not to mention they had the concert going on, that's why it was less, it wasn't as loud.
Yeah.
So that's why, because even on the video, like Rachel said, it was a popping noise, but on the ground, you could have told that it was an assault rifle if he was on the ground.
Right.
So it was to people's disadvantage. But what I didn't understand, it was complete chaos.
Yeah.
People knocking people down because they didn't know where to go, because they didn't know where it was coming from. They're just seeing people falling, getting taken out. So, and then even people, there were several people who, were heroes, tried to save people. They got shot too, but they were trying to guide people to safety. So
Yeah.
Isn't that terrifying?
crazy.
And like I was in Vegas just a couple of months ago, and it's such a fun atmosphere.
It is.
So to think that somebody would, the whole thing is just nuts. But to think that somebody would go out of their way, and so far there's not been a note, no type of information. They did have an interview with his brother. And his brother has a criminal background. And I have to say, I appreciate them doing this because, when it's one of us and a crime is committed, they do a background check on everybody.
Yeah.
So they did one on his brother, who has had a criminal record of it was a non-violent crime.
But his dad was on the FBI Most Wanted as well.
Yes,
Criminal
he was.
family.
What was his dad on the Most Wanted for?
A bank robber.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was on there for a while, right? A couple months.
Oh, yeah, for a minute.
And they killed him. The police killed him.
Okay. I didn't know about that.
I don't know if, like they say, violent tendencies are hereditary.
Well, at least one thing I have to say, they hadn't said he was mentally ill. So, because they could easily use that as an excuse.
Yes. But I think anybody who kills anybody is mentally ill.
Yeah.
There has to be some level of detachment there
Yeah.
from reality a little bit, or at least from empathy.
But this dude had it planned out. With the FBI continuously investigating this, he had cameras in the hallway. He had cameras, in front of his door, so he could see when they were coming. Because he knew once he started popping off, they were going to start, coming to his room. So he was prepared.
He
So
was.
I mean,
And one security guard was able to find out who he was. He did get shot, but he got shot in the leg, and he was able to tell the police where the gunman was. And they actually had to force him to go get medical help. He was trying to stay and help the entire time.
yeah.
But here's the thing, and I wonder how this is going to affect hotels from now on. The fact that he carried in all these weapons, there had been tons and tons of bags.
Yeah, heavy.
And so, are they going to start checking bags? Like what can you do?
I hope not, because some of the stuff I have in my suitcase. I mean, it is a vacation. Now they gotta look.
If you go on cruises, they're going to go through your bag. So you might as well just be, as long as it's not anything that can kill anybody, physically kill anybody, Miss BJ.
Well, here's the thing, though. I think that's kind of like when they started like checking your shoes at the airport, or no, before they started checking your shoes, they started like limiting the number of bags you could have or something at the airport. That being reactive instead of proactive. Now that when people get on or realize that you're doing that, they're just going to move on to something else. So you have to be proactive in situations like that. I think the best form of being proactive is doing some sort of gun control, but that's just me.
Oh no, that's like half of us.
Gun control and a metal detector. Yeah, a metal detector. Right.
I think, I don't know, guys. I agree. And of course, our president, and we will talk more about this when we have DJ Specs on the phone, how he handled it. He actually got to Vegas quicker than he got to Puerto Rico, about 3 weeks earlier than he got to Puerto Rico. But
I really knew where that was on
Trump
the map,
Towers.
though.
I know, right?
Do I need a visa?
No, he came to check on his property. Don't
Yeah.
let them fool you. I think that hotel was across from Trump Towers. But, he didn't call the man a terrorist, and I don't expect him to at all. And it's like, this is that domestic terrorism. As much as everybody likes to point the blame, I actually read somebody commented on an article where it was like, okay, now that this has happened, is it safe to say the young black boys wearing hoodies are not the main killers, and we could start looking at white men or single white men?
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't want to play the race card, but it's like, this is what we mean. It's really hard when you have to defend yourself with the whole black on black crime notion, but we never hear about the mass shootings that comes from a particular group of people.
Right.
And so I feel like everybody's so focused on us, people of color, especially police officers, where this man was able to carry in bags
Over
and
10
bags and bags,
suitcases
and nobody
of assault
probably
rifles.
ever looked at him any kind of way.
It was like, old guy, Hawaiian shirt. He's cool.
Yeah. And then they mentioned about the windows being busted out. Like, isn't there any type of security or something alarm that would go out if a
Okay.
big window gets busted out?
Don't let me get into my conspiracy theory, girl.
Go ahead.
But these windows, first of all, as you know, as hotels get higher, the windows get higher and higher. It's a thicker pane of glass because they have to, for the wind. For him to bust these windows out, he had to be very strong in order to get, because it's like a triple pane. But he had knocked out all the windows, and no one saw glass falling that far below
or heard anything.
I thought he shot it out. He just knocked.
Well, he did shoot it out, but regardless,
no one noticed it. I would have, and maybe he did it during like the height of the concert. Yeah. But this man was very prepared.
There's people walking. What's in front of the hotel? Is people walking on. Nobody got cut or anything.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the glass has to fall somewhere.
That's a good point.
Or nobody hears anything, because a thick pane of glass like that just break it, and it was two of them.
Yeah.
And I doubt that he just broke it and then sat there and started shooting. The whole shooting thing went for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
So no security. There wasn't any housekeeping on the floor. What about the neighbors? Because I saw an interview from a neighbor, and it's like, so you heard something, you didn't want to call and say, hey, something might have happened next door? I mean, by all means, thank God that you chose to not go check for yourself, because you might have been, victim number one. But there's a lot of things where it's like, that doesn't quite make sense.
Right, but sure enough, that had been a homeless black man. I think y'all need to come up to the 32nd floor. There's a man up here getting ice. I don't think he belongs. So.
Hey, yo, you said it, but it's very, very true.
Oh, no, don't mind the old guy with the 10 suitcases, but check that right there.
Exactly.
The Skittles and the iced tea.
Also, 10 suitcases. Somebody had to help you with that.
He's 64 years old, and I'm not saying and from not judging him. He didn't look like super physically fit. So some bellhop or somebody was having to roll that.
And take the suitcases off, because they want their tip. So
yes.
I mean, you have to hear that inside the suitcase. I don't know.
And then from the people who said that they've seen him, it's all positive. Nobody says he looks suspicious. They were like, oh, he was playing a casino for about 8 hours, and it's like,
they say he was a nice guy and he's a regular. Like, he would regularly go and gamble.
Well, real quick, do you guys think his girlfriend knew anything?
I don't know. I don't have enough details of the story to know whether or to speculate.
Well, think about it. She went out of the country right before. He wired her $100,000 right before. You wouldn't ask questions?
Do you know that she didn't?
I don't know.
All I know is she lived with this man. She had to see that. I mean, what are you collecting all these weapons for, Steven?
Yeah.
But what kind of relationship was it? Like, is she Melania Trump in it, where she's just kind of like,
she kind of
true.
Like
I mean, and it's something about,
so she's not going to ask any questions about that money as long as it keeps coming in.
I'm not trying to be funny. Like, even though the dude is not a veteran, it's something about guys in that demographic with foreign women. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They kind of like, they stay in their place. They ask no questions, do as they're told. And they just, like you call it, Melania Trump in it.
Yeah.
So when he said, go home, see your family, here's some money, she got on that plane, she went and saw her family, and she took that money out the bank. She didn't ask no questions.
Yeah.
So.
Well, now that should teach some people. See, same thing with Melania. You don't ask enough questions, you might be sitting there being the first lady of the White House and not want to be there.
Watching a husband say that you wish you could be here, and you standing right beside him.
Exactly. But no, so they're doing more investigation. This is, the worst mass shooting in American modern history. They like to throw the word modern out there because they don't want to remember anything.
Like Black Wall Street.
Yes.
So, what is it? Rosewood?
Yeah.
Down in Florida.
So, we're hoping that they do find some more information. I'm very curious as to his motive, because like you said, he wasn't poor. He wasn't heartbroken. He had a chick. The people that he shot at were country-loving white people. So I'm very curious to find out what the reason why. But to me, y'all, that was a waste of money. Like, look, if the millions in your life get you down, send them over here.
Right.
I'll be just fine with that money.
Donate. Don't hate.
I know. All right, so let's move
Living
on.
broke is a real adventure. So.
Right.
Really? You think your struggles are hard? You over there getting us sweets while we over here, hoping for free nights.
Child, we at the Red Roof Inn talking about 4 people to one room.
I know.
Is that a pull-out couch or okay?
I know. I ain't sleeping with so-and-so. They snore, so you have to sleep on the floor.
Right.
That's the real struggle. All right, guys. So let's get into some celebrity news, just to heighten the mood a little bit. Jocelyn Hernandez and Stevie J from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta are back in the media. And I kind of know why, because Love and Hip Hop will be returning to VH1 next month, I believe, in November. Anyway, so there's something going on with their baby and some type of custody war.
So what happened was, because they've been so nasty to each other in the past, the court appointed little Bonnie Bella, their 10-month-old daughter, a guardian to check on her welfare. Well, every time the guardian calls either parent to bring her in to check, they do not produce the child. They miss the appointments. They don't show up. The guardian even went down. Jocelyn Hernandez had a ticket, a traffic court ticket. The guardian went to traffic court. Jocelyn didn't show up. So now the judge is demanding they have to show up with the kid or else. So some rumors has it the guardian thinks that Jocelyn has Bonnie Bella in Miami. She was ordered by the court. She is not allowed to let that baby leave Fulton County. So, and it's strictly for the welfare of the child. So even the same thing when she tried to get in contact with Stevie J. She was like, Stevie J, I need to see your daughter. It's a welfare check. They don't answer calls. They don't answer the door. They have not been able to see this baby.
So what do you think is really going on?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I think. Jocelyn Hernandez went and got all that plastic surgery. So honestly, we don't know what the baby looked like. I'm just gonna be honest. Jocelyn could grab anybody baby and say, "This is Bonnie Bella." I mean, I'm just saying. But no, honestly, I don't know why they are hiding out from, because I know they're not physically harming the baby, because we know Stevie J loves all of his 22 children. So we know he is never going to harm his kids. And Jocelyn Hernandez wanted this baby so bad. I think they just don't want to. I don't know, because it might involve some form of drug testing. And if they are doing drugs around the baby and it's in the baby's system, then that custody will be taken from whomever the parent is. So they might be doing something. I don't think the baby is physically being harmed, but it's something to it.
Yeah, I can see the drug testing thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. All right, so another Love and Hip Hop star, Rashida. Like I said, Love and Hip Hop is coming back in a couple weeks, so I feel that this is probably just publicity for the show. But if it's not, I think it's a long time coming. The suffering Rashida, she has been suffering for years, since damn near day one.
Yeah.
She says she's officially leaving her husband, Kurt Ross.
Yeah. She, as you all know, last season of Love and Hip Hop, Kurt, it's been too long. That child has got to be like 2-3 years now. It was a paternity test to see if this kid was Kirk's, and no one found out. And poor Rashida just was going through it. And, one of the last things we saw was Kirk saying he'd be willing to split up everything. This is what you get because, I did you wrong. So she finally got tired, and she says that they're separated. But she didn't say anything about a divorce. Divorce was not mentioned, saying they are going to just do the best for their children.
All right, well, let me go a little further back with the recap. The beginning of their relationship, maybe into the second season. The first season, they were like relationship goals. The second season, Kurt started cheating with some thoughts, as they like to call them. Publicly, of course, anything on TV is public.
Right.
And then Rashida ends up getting pregnant by Kurt. Kurt denies the baby's his. Sneaks the baby away, swabs the cheek, gets a DNA test.
Right.
Accuses Rashida of cheating while he was the one cheating the entire time.
Yeah.
And then comes forth this lady named Jasmine, who is a stripper, because they always are, in case you're wondering, claiming that she's pregnant by Kurt. And so during the last season, they played it out. Her ex-boyfriend came and they did a DNA test. And the reason why everybody believes his child is Kurt's is because during the reunion, Rashida would not let them on the show. So it's kind of like if this baby is not his and there's DNA tests to prove it and the whole world thinks it is, why wouldn't you let them
come on the show
and do the DNA test? Because you don't want the results out there. You already know what it is. Mm-hmm. And like you said, Kurt did say, he's already signed, gave a prenup and everything about what she's going to get when they leave each other.
Right.
I feel like it's time. I hate to be this way, but once you have a baby on somebody, that's the hardest thing to ever get
Especially
through.
A married baby. What they call an outside baby or...
What's it, side baby?
Side baby. And you're married. And the thing is, he has plenty of children. Mm-hmm. And then I saw on Instagram where Jasmine was posting her receipts where Kirk was texting her and actually stopped by his wife's shop and took a dress and gave it to her to wear to her baby shower for his kid.
Yes.
How you go stop by your wife's shop get your side chick a dress for your side baby. I mean, that is so trifling. You can't even stop by TJ Maxx or Ross and get her something. You got to go to your wife's shop for free.
And look, there's levels of cheating. That one is off the charts.
Yeah.
And so, Rashida's still kind of young. She had a baby a couple years ago. Kurt's older. I've been trying to do the math because Kurt has kids who have kids.
Yeah.
And
he's a granddaddy.
And with Rashida saying, I've been with this man for 18 years or ever how long it was, I'm like, how old is he compared to her?
Well, Rashida, because you do realize it is a fickle business when you are in the music game. So Rashida could be older than we think. They like to lie about their age so they can still kind of stay young with the database. So.
Maybe.
But Kurt,
how old was she when Bubblegum came out?
How's that go?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. I kind of think I know.
I don't remember. Every time I think of Rashida, I just see Rod Digger's face instead. I don't know.
Whose face?
Rod Digger.
Yeah.
The one who would threaten to beat someone with a bat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not about that life. I wasn't into that type of music when I was that age.
What did you listen to?
Like Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Christina Aguilera.
Okay. Sheltered.
Very sheltered. Yes.
Pat, we was listening to some trap music one week.
I know, just as wild as open, these little thoughts in this room, being prepared for your future.
Twerk.
All right, so moving on. Speaking of cheating and cheating women.
This is a side chick heavy segment. This
very much is. But, Kevin Hart's side chick. What's her name? Montego Savage?
Yeah.
So she is milking her 15 minutes worth.
Girl.
And I've never seen somebody so freaking clueless.
Yes. She even posted new pictures. Her web, I don't think her ID had been updated since like May 2015, but now she got all these new shots.
Model photos. So, her lawyer is Lisa Bloom. Mm-hmm. And what they're saying is his side piece, who was caught on video, the video that's circulating, is saying that she was a victim because she don't know who recorded that video.
Exactly.
She said that her and Kevin, this wasn't a one-time thing. They were kind of in it for a couple days. Mm-hmm. She said she had no idea he was married.
Yeah.
But didn't she release like a statement after the video or like in the video that was like, this is why I did it, to expose him? And
oh, I don't know.
No, I don't know. All I remember she saying is that they met on an airplane and they instantly clicked, and she didn't know he was married, and they spent like the whole weekend together. Like they didn't take any time like getting to know each other. Like they hooked up that night. Like she stepped off the plane out of her underwear and into that hotel. Like they hooked up. And then the thing is, it's so funny because every time there was some physical contact, there's some little secret person taking pictures of Kevin Hart, like sitting next to her, rubbing her leg, laughing all up in her face, and then in the bedroom. So somebody setting up somebody.
All the way. Because here's the thing. There's no way you can know. I'm not sure who said it. It might have been Wendy Williams. It might have been somebody else. But there's no way for you not to know Kevin Hart was married. Because one, he's one of the most famous celebrities out there. So you know his life a little bit. Two, you can Google it and find out. If you go on his Instagram, he's always posting about his pregnant wife. And also, she said that they ran in the same circles. So you run in the same circles with his friends and stuff, and anybody tell you he had a wife? Of course you knew.
Then why would they need to meet on a plane?
Right.
Exactly. And how did you get on that plane? Because I'm pretty sure he's not flying commercial airline. So anyways, what she's doing, no, not her, Kevin Hart's current wife, Aniko. That's her name, right? Mm-hmm. She's sympathizing with Wendy Williams. Is she?
What I don't understand is because she once was the side chick. So maybe you should be sympathizing with the husband.
True.
I mean, she's making it seem like, that public shame of it all. At one time, you were Tory Hart's public shame of it all.
Yeah. And I don't remember Tory getting any type of, apology, any type of recognition to any type of mistakes or anything.
Yeah.
And look, and this is from the truth, people. I have lived it. You lose them how you get them every time. It is really rare that a cheater is reformed. Really, really rare. But 9 times out of 10, they don't go get with the person they cheated with. Like, they
Right.
try to clean slate it and then try to do better. But it's like, if he gonna cheat on her with you, he gonna do the same thing to the next hot chick.
Yeah.
You're pregnant right now. You're still beautiful, but you probably aren't feeling as sexy and stuff. And, men like that would just do that.
They like their ego to be. She's like, this
Not
baby.
tonight.
He's like, oh, that's all you talk about is the baby.
Yeah. Exactly.
What you're not gonna do.
Exactly. Unfortunately. So, I definitely wish her the best luck. It's very hurtful to be cheated on. However, like I said, you lose them, I can get them. Sorry, girl.
Yeah.
All right, so last story for the block. Let's talk about O.J. Simpson. The juice is
It's
officially loose, y'all. That's about it.
I do know that. So
That's a
he
little
is-
old too.
Yeah. So the juice, I don't even know if he can be considered juice. I'm gonna start calling him like concentrate.
I
or
was about to
something.
say that.
But he is
Dang.
living large. He's currently staying, y'all, in a palatial 5,000 square foot home on a private Las Vegas gated community right next to a golf course. Trust, he does not own the home. One of his good friends letting him stay there. But the thing is, he has to stay there because this person, he said, testified during the O.J. Simpson trial, or during the robbery trial. But because this was the location listed for his parole, he's going to be staying here for quite a while because it was approved for him to stay here with the parole board. So he basically is not stuck there, but during the length of his parole and probation. So O.J. Simpson is living it up.
Yeah.
So
Is it a coincidence that he got out of jail and moved to Las Vegas the same time this whole killing?
he's probably like, look, I got an alibi.
Yeah.
I was behind this gate. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah. So, but I did see today that the father of one of the slain victims, Ron Goldman, said that O.J. Simpson will not make a dime of money as long as he can live. Because that O.J. Simpson lost the Silva trial
Yeah.
years ago, which I think he was supposed to be rewarded like $35 million, but then there's so many penalties, it's doubled. So he owes $75 million or close to that. And
wow.
so anything that he makes, like, he can't write a book, can't profit off of these things. All
Yeah,
right,
he's
then.
not go.
Yeah, so he can't profit off of any of these things. So Ron Goldman is still out to make sure that he gets his payment. And I'm not mad about that, I guess. All right, guys, you're listening to The Real with Rachel D. Make sure you go on social media and show us some love and support on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. There we go. Coming up, we have a mix by one of our favorite DJs, DJ Specs.
Yay!
We're back.
All right, I thought I was in my dance mode.
Jeez.
Hey guys, we're back with The Real with Rachel D. That was a great mix by DJ Specs.
I think we got DJ Specs on the line, actually.
DJ Specs. Hey,
What's good, fam?
nothing much. How you doing,
up?
DJ
Wait.
Specs?
I'm doing good, Miss BJ. How about yourself?
Good. I'm trying to get one of these paper towel rolls. Seems like Donald Trump threw them all out.
He probably did. You saw he thought he was Jordan.
Right? Kobe.
Kobe.
I mean,
What's up, Rachel D?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good.
Who else we got in the house tonight?
P
You got
Money.
P-Money?
What's
What's up,
up?
P-Money?
What's up?
All right.
All right, so we're here to talk about one of your favorite subjects, Donald Trump. We can't help it. He's always doing something. So where should we
Something.
start? Let's start a little bit further back, and then we'll work our way up. Puerto Rico. He finally
Hey,
Finally.
yeah,
he finally
Finally.
made it to Puerto Rico.
And one of the first things he uttered out of his mouth is that, don't you know that you're putting our budget out of whack?
Can you believe it? These people standing here cold, hungry, in the dark, and he's like, you kind of put our budget out of whack, but it's okay. It's okay. I love the response. You kind of did. DJ Specs, did y'all see that? Now these people in the room, it's not as bad as Hurricane Katrina because they had thousands died. How many people you had died? Like 15? She was 16. Yeah, exactly. Only 16.
Wow, I
Okay.
didn't see that.
DJ,
Now,
did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Now, 16 people may have died, but the response is the same. They're still waiting on relief.
Right.
This is a colonized U.S. territory. So these people pay into the tax system just like mainland Americans do. So they should get the same benefits as the people in Texas did, the same response that the people in Florida get.
Right. But Trump didn't see them till 2 weeks after Maria done blew through there. She done left. She back at home with her feet sitting up waiting for Jose to finish circling around the ocean. And he's just now getting there.
Yeah.
Right, but you see how fast he got to Nevada, don't you?
Yes.
Of course. We had to check on Trump Hotel down there, I'm sure.
It's not only that, you know, one country is heavily melanated, one is not.
Exactly. And I thought, my mom and I talked about this. She was like, do you think his advisors had to remind him that was a U.S. territory?
Of course.
And I was like, yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
He had to, because he treated them like second-class citizens. And then the fact that he said that it wasn't a real catastrophe. He kept comparing it to a real catastrophe like Hurricane Katrina.
I mean, besides the casualties, I almost think that it was worse. I mean, they lost power. What about the people who were in...
3.5 million people are affected.
Who are in the hospital. Like, I know a lot of celebrities had to send their private jets out there just to transport the cancer patients or the people who are in the hospitals who need respirators.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jigga on that. Who else? Someone
Mark
else
Anthony,
Fat Joe.
Fat Joe.
Yeah.
Well, Fat Joe went through Jigga, but you know,
Yeah.
J-Lo.
shout out to the real Americans in this country, not some fake orange peel looking.
Right. What was the name? I don't know the name of it, but a ship came that was like a hospital ship specifically to help transport sick people because they had no power. So it was like a huge ship, but it's like a huge hospital unit came specifically just to help them. But mind you, he could have got this done when they were telling him how bad Maria was and was going to devastate Puerto Rico. When they initially asked him to lift the Jones Act, he could have technically acted in advance so it wouldn't be as bad. But before he, was like, no, I'm not. He only did it after he started to get flack about it. Mm-hmm. Then he finally lifted it within the last couple days.
Yeah. Can you explain what the Jones Act is?
I mean, he does not care about people other than people who look like him.
Exactly. And just to clarify, the Jones Act is basically saying it was something that was put upon Puerto Rico, saying they can only like get help from U.S. ships,
right?
Meaning
US
they can't get
ships.
right. So meaning they pay a large amount of money. They're basically being played, honestly, because they can only get stuff from U.S. ships from no one else. So if it doesn't come via that, they're not going to get it.
Yep.
Well, shout out to the cruise lines, by the way, because I know as I got back from my cruise, they started to not actually do the regular rounds. They canceled a lot of cruises, and Carnival and Royal Caribbean packed up a lot of food, and they just went out there themselves. And I'm pretty sure that was a decision made by their CEOs. And not even, this was weeks ago, so before our president even did anything.
Right.
So everybody else knew the importance and knew that it's like, okay, we can't just leave this like this. You understand that, right? And then let me tell you, it was so bothersome to me, guys, when I saw that video of him throwing them paper towel rolls out like he was a cheerleader at a football game throwing T-shirts.
Yes.
Turkeys during Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I mean, it was so. Here you are, have 3.5 million people who have not had clean water in weeks. They're drinking out of rivers that have dead animals floating in them. And you're sitting up there throwing out brawny. I mean, bottled water.
It wasn't even brawny. That was generic.
The knockoff.
That's the one that just says paper towels. Have the little white man on.
Well, you gotta roll that around your hand and put that down.
That don't even absorb. Like, is that the non-absorbent paper towel? Right. Just kind of push the water around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's sad because, and like a lot of people said, I'm surprised no one threw the paper towel back at them. Yeah. So, I mean, these people need water. You see other presidents in the past, Obama, who would actually get out, talk to the people, hug them, talk to them. He is like,
it's a show.
It's a show. And he didn't want I don't want you to touch me, so let me throw you these paper towels, you dirty, dirty people.
You dirty Mexicans.
It's
That's
crazy.
probably what he thought.
Puerto Ricans.
I know
but he
they
didn't
are
even
Puerto
know.
Ricans, but he would never have known the difference.
No.
But like we talked about last week, though, now they're starting to see what we've been going through for centuries. And that's why it's really not our place to, I understand that we're discussing it and stuff like that tonight, but it's not our place to start putting ourselves back out there again, because basically they'll prostitute the black people in this country to push their agenda. As soon as they get it pushed across, then they'll pull back from us, like, you know, because they'll go back to identifying to being white.
Right.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you on that, but I definitely believe that us as a people, we do tend to fight for everybody's rights because we do want equality. And so we'll jump on everything. So I remember the Asian guy who got pulled off United Airlines and Black Lives Matter came to his defense. And I was like, wait a minute, have we ever seen Asian people do anything on behalf of us?
Nope.
And so I'm actually, as much as I want everybody to be there for each other, I am supportive that it's kind of like we learn to stay in our lane, because it's like, for the first time in a while, we're not the target right now.
Well, I think it's about how you how you fight or how you react to it. You know, there's ways to help people. I think that you can still help people without putting yourself out there in that way.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
send money and support like that. But like, for instance, Black Lives Matter rallying in public for them.
Yeah,
For
you
Puerto
have to pick
Ricans.
your battles always, but
They better get Cardi B over there do a relief concert.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
That would be kind of a hot, her, Jennifer Lopez,
she's
Mark
gonna
Anthony.
do that like one song in the
Yeah,
remix
that's
to
it.
it.
Yeah. Is there even a Spanish version to that song?
I would like to sell on my bloody shoes. So, I mean, but it's just, and then reading the comments, let me tell you something. A really good friend of mine named Rachel D. She's the one that told me sometimes you can't read the comments because that hand to get the hit reply so quick, because a lot of people are still, they second whatever the president does.
That's the most devastating part to me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's treating them like they're second class citizens, and to see people play off that like they don't deserve this, like, oh, we're going to get heavier in debt, or, you know, how come they want, what did he say earlier before he went over there? The Puerto Ricans want everything done for them. You know, they don't want to do anything for
That's
themselves.
because they don't understand their status as a U.S. colony either, or
Exactly.
territory. I'm sorry, either.
So, and I just hate seeing that in replies to people who are Trump supporters, blaming these people. You can't plan on a hurricane hitting you and knocking out the entirety of your infrastructure. And based on the fact that they were under this act, they can't do anything to repair it because they're waiting on this orange Cheeto to release the act so they can start repairing. So it's like they don't understand. They're just going by whatever he says. Anything else is
But
fake news.
But you see the difference between how they treated Obama and they treated Trump. You know, Obama, I mean, like, even if he would have been, you know, because they already think we on black people's time anyway. So if he would have waited 2 weeks to go down there, oh, they would have killed this. They,
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. They'll demonize us, and the media is real complicit in this, what I'm about to say. They demonize us even when we're doing the right thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you see, like with the shooting, you know, if y'all want to, you know, go to the shooting in Nevada, y'all want to start there, or we're going to keep going on Trump?
Go ahead. Finish your
Okay.
thought.
You see how I saw an early news report, you know, we're trying to make sure this is an ISIS attack. You know, if you're really going to attack ISIS, you're going to have to probably take 30% of the white men out in this country because they all live here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's not even counting the police department. You know what I'm saying? You worried about what's going on overseas. We still have to live with these people every day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, look how many, I know y'all saw the memes on Facebook and stuff like, and I know y'all look at my page and y'all see how I get down. But look at how many of these white, they won't even call them terrorists.
Yeah.
You know, Timothy McVeigh, you know, that guy in Sandy Hook, Columbine, Aurora.
Oh, wait,
you know,
I got
Pat
you,
Sheriff.
DJ Specs. This is what they
Okay,
call
you
him.
got me? You got
A
me?
lone wolf.
As soon as they said lone wolf, I
Yeah.
knew he was white.
Yeah.
You know, and they keep saying that this is the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. No, the worst mass shooting in U.S. history happened 100 miles from me in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was over 300 black people killed. They even bombed Tulsa from the air.
DJ Specs, we said that. Or we said Black Wall Street and Rosewood, and there was another one in
Yeah.
Texas. I can't think of the name of it though.
Yeah,
But
you know, but this is still. What about the Native Americans? How they slaughtered them? What about Wounded Knee and all these other places?
right.
You know, you can't select your history. This is what you did.
But you know what? And I'm not trying to be funny at all. This all goes back to people saying they don't want to. This, if you were to say, well, you know what happened, it was horrible, get over it.
Yeah.
It's almost the same thing. Like, you can't get over it. You want to see how can we go about this not repeating itself again. Hence
Right.
what Patrick was saying earlier, like gun laws. Like, how can we prevent this? And that's kind of similar how people look at actions in the past that happened to a group of people. Like, oh, it happened. I wasn't part of it, so you should just get over it. You know, years from now, when people say I had a relative who was part of this mass shooting, you can't just tell them, oh, well, you know, I didn't do it. Get over it.
But listen, here's the biggest hypocrite at all. This, like O.J. Simpson. Y'all tell groups of people who have lost millions, thousands, torture, get over it. It's in the past. I ain't do it. But we following O.J. to this day.
Right.
What is he doing? He needs to be one man that affected 2 families max. But y'all want to talk about we need to get over it? Okay.
No, I mean, check this out, sis. He affected way more families than 2 families. Because if you look at the judicial system now, since, what was that, 91 when that happened? What was that? Was it 91?
I was probably
92 something.
like,
well, anyways, you know,
baby food.
Black Americans are still paying for that verdict.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm just saying that, you know, like you said, they tell other races, other cultures, you know, to get over it. It's been a while, but that's just the main thing. It's like, no, until OJ's dead or until, you know, you get all your money, you're not going to get over it. And that is one man who did not personally affect you. Like, I know how it affected black people, but I'm talking about the people who are still on him. It didn't affect you. What happened was he didn't go to jail, and it bothers you because it's unthinkable. A black man killing a white woman. What? In 20 years, it's been at least 25 years at least.
Yeah.
And y'all are he's still in the media because you put him there. But yet slavery and, you know, the abolishment of Native Americans in America, oh, that's too long. Y'all got to go over that.
Yeah.
It was just about a couple million people.
Like,
But
side note.
they never say get over it on December 7th, Pearl Harbor. They never say get over it September 11th. You know.
Yeah, sure.
They don't say get over it with
realistic about July 4th. You know, the Holocaust. You know.
Yeah.
It's
and then they say that they're real quick, like you said, sis. They're real quick to say, well, I didn't have anything to do with it, all this and that. But you continuously benefit and reap the benefits of what happened to us.
Yeah.
Very true.
You know, all this old money, you know, that's wealth that was built on slave labor.
Yeah.
That was able to be passed down from generations to generations.
Even DJ Spec, some of these banks started off with doing what do they call them? Insurance on your chattel.
On your truck, yeah.
Yeah.
On your chattel.
Yeah, and that's how they bank their money. Like a lot of banks, and I wish I knew some of the names that are very famous to this day. They may have changed their names up, but that's how they originally started getting their money.
The New York Stock Exchange. That was the first stock ever traded on there was slaves.
Right. On that round block. Have y'all ever seen a slave auction block before?
I mean, in life?
Yeah.
Like in real
life.
Oh, well, I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah. But they were saying like how, well, it was at the Civil Rights Museum, like a reenactment of one, but they said how it was all like super smooth and polished because of how many people were on it and had to, turn around. Like it was just literally a block, but it became smooth and polished like a nice table because they saw so many people daily, all day long, turning around on it, standing it, constantly shuffling their feet. So it's really sad because, I mean, that's millions. And that's just documented. Just think about the undocumented people, you know, all over the world.
But see, they don't even teach that in history, as far as the American scholastic system. They don't even teach that in history class. They made it seem like, they just went over there and we volunteered to come over here and we just built this country and all this and that. No, that's not how it works. If you want the truth to be known, I always say, let's wait for the facts. Michael Brown got killed, let's wait for the facts.
I remember
all these other...
When Michael Brown got killed, this is my baby stages of being a social media ninja, and I wish I would have stuck to my guns. I remember one lady telling me that there was video footage of him lunging at the police officer, And there was nothing such. So I'm like, you're sitting here literally making this up to try to justify why this man deserved to die.
Yeah.
And I told a lady I work with, I said, that's the difference between white people and black people. When black people die, they, you try to explain why they deserved it. Well,
Right.
he didn't do this and he wouldn't have died. But if it's another race, they try to say why they deserve to live. He was like the white lady who got killed by the Muslim cop. She was a bride and she was trying to help.
And it was late at night, and she probably startled him, and he probably doesn't need to be on the police force if he's easily startled.
Right. Most of these dudes with a gun, they cowards.
Of course.
For real.
Yeah, look at the
they
mass
get
murderer.
rolled on. Right. And you see how they portray the difference between they betrayed Mike Brown. He was a thug and all this and that. But then this guy who just killed these 50-something people in Las Vegas, he liked listening to music and he did this and
he
did
was
that.
A granddad, a retiree, a lone wolf.
A lone wolf, yeah. They won't call him a domestic terrorist, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But we all see, and I'm telling you, more and more Caucasian Americans or Europeans, because they're all descendants of Europe, as more black people start waking up and calling them out on all their treacherous acts, they really start to feel some way.
Yeah. But let me ask you how you feel about this. Mary, as you know, Tina Campbell, she admitted that she voted for Trump because she liked his Christian values.
I was debating on who I was going to put on the coon train tonight. And I think where's the music at, Rachel D? We need, yes, she's on the coon train tonight. There's no justification that you can give.
What kind of music you got for the coon train?
Where's my coon train music?
Where did you send me that?
I think I emailed it to you.
Well, what was it like? Kind of
Choo
choo.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Well, go ahead and try to pull it up. But while I give my little dissertation, there is no reason that a person with melanin in their skin should vote for a white supremacist. Even though we've been doing it, Bill and Hillary, he played his saxophone band. We voted him 2 terms. But he promoted mass incarceration of our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Even with Barack Obama, he did a lot of great things while he was in office. But yet still, he never specifically targeted his own people when it comes, he called the guy who allegedly killed all those people and the cops down in Dallas or whatever when they blew him up in that building.
Wait, hold on, DJ Specs. I might have it for you.
You got me?
Let's hope there's no commercials.
No dead air space on the radio.
Do you hear it?
No. Y'all got it?
Y'all hear it?
I hear it, yeah. But okay. Because I was like, what thing? Electric sliding on the train?
I was about to say.
Where the white women at? All white peoples ain't bad.
I can't hear it, but I hope y'all can hear it.
I like
I
it.
hear it.
I think about
What about black on black crime?
Oh, what
All
about
right.
black on black crime?
All right, DJ Specs. Make sure you send me that drop next week. But continue about Campbell.
But yeah, she, there's no rhyme or reason why she would vote for a white supremacist, a blatant white supremacist.
Yeah.
It's no justification that you can give. We really didn't have a whole lot of options with Hillary either. That's why she lost, because a lot of black people were messing with Hillary.
Yeah.
Well,
And I struggled up until the polls closed, 30 minutes before the polls closed, for me to go vote.
I think that what's her name? Tina Campbell? Is that the right sister? She shouldn't have said anything. Like, what's the point of even saying that, coming out and admitting that at this point?
Well, she believes, confession. She had to get that sin off her soul, child.
She's trying to get those butter biscuits from the white folks.
Well, Diamond and Silk probably, was, girl, come join our club, because that coon train is coming.
But you see, they fell off. They can't even come to the family barbecue anymore.
No, they will get arrested. They try to hop that White House fence. Donald Trump be like, who are those women? Do we have any paper towels left?
those Negro peeing bed winches.
Right.
That's what they were doing.
Jesus.
You know, no, that's not good.
I know.
That's crazy.
All right, DJ Specs, thank you so much for calling in. Can you let everybody know where they can find out more information about you?
Yes, they can go to my website, djspecs.com. And that's also my Facebook page. And then Christopher Daniels, of course. DJ Specs and OG Smooth on Twitter. And Rachel D's brother. That's my favorite thing right there.
Number one for life.
No doubt.
All right, so we'll have you back next week because I'm pretty sure it's this whole thing with the shooter and Puerto Rico, and I think that there's another hurricane coming unfolds. Donald Trump is never going to fail to give us some mess to talk about.
Oh, no doubt.
He's just like, Usher. He just that gift you don't want, but it keeps on giving.
Absolutely. All right.
Be nice, PJ.
Thank you, DJ Specs. Coming up, we have one of
All
your
right.
mixes, boo.
Peace.
All right, guys, welcome back to The Real with Rachel D. That was another mix by our favorite DJ Specs. I'm your girl, Miss Rachel D, here with Miss BJ.
What up?
And P Money.
What up?
What was that?
I did the same thing BJ did.
What is happening? Oh, it's my phone.
Really?
Dang it, touchscreens. I'm glad that was something G-rated.
Because we're looking
That
around.
sounded like it was about to go somewhere
Yeah.
else, like a little NC-17. But
Right.
What is this? Oh, I don't even know what this is. All right, guys. So moving on. Sorry, note to self. Turn off the phone. All right, so it's time for WTH social media.
Yeah.
I just want to give a quick shout out to my girl, Miss BJ. She was killing it on the social media scene this week.
Oh, thank you.
Killing it. We actually got a lot of participation, so we might read people's responses.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go ahead and to jump into one of them. So, have you guys ever bought anything online?
Oh, all the time.
Me too.
I don't have any money.
You know what?
Do you ever sell anything online, Patrick?
No, but I may start.
Jesus. Well, a yoga instructor. Well, is she a yoga instructor? No.
I think she just was a yogi.
Yeah, a lady who likes yoga. So she went to order a yoga mat from Walmart. But she ended up getting more than she expected, right?
Dude, she got a package, $400,000 worth of oxycodone pills. Good Lord.
How does accidents like that happen? I'm curious.
It's probably the drop spot for somebody else to pick it up.
Right.
And she just happened to stumble upon it. Because you know how sometimes, like, when you find something that you like, but you're not sure if you want to buy it, so you go take it to another section in a different aisle and put it behind everything else.
Right.
That's true. Maybe. Or remember, BJ, that time at a place we both used to work at where somebody was supposed to return a DVD, but instead it was a case full of meth?
What?
Wait, you didn't know about that?
No.
Yeah, somebody returned a case full of meth instead of the actual DVD.
How did they know it was meth? Who smoked it?
Yeah, what does meth look like? I wouldn't know that if I saw it.
I mean, I did watch, what's his name? Walter
Breaking
White.
Bad.
Yeah. But that's crazy. But I do know the same thing happened in Colorado. Somebody had, it happens all the time now. It was a bunch of weed in there instead of a DVD. But this time, this lady said that there was so many pills in the bag that they were spilling out of the package. So as soon as she got it, she called the police. And the local drug unit came. And they said whoever mailed the package meant to probably send it to the woman's old and unoccupied address. But due to a misspelled address, the package is what she got. So instead of a yoga mat, she just got a whole bunch of... She became like a drug dealer overnight. A pill pusher.
And to add insult to injury, they told her how much it was worth. You
Right.
could have had $400,000.
Exactly.
Right. Here she is just trying to stretch and relax. And
You know how much relaxing $400,000 could do for you?
what would you do with 20,000 oxycodone pills?
I don't know. I'd probably see which one of my family members are about that life and be like, look, I'll give you a 20% cut. 30 if you don't get us caught. But get rid of these.
Look at the boss over here.
If it ain't mine, I'm like, I'll give you a high cut. You just got to find the most trustworthy crackhead out the bunch.
Child, please, let me tell you what I would do. Magic Flame. Hey, girl, come here. I know you tired dancing on that pole. So how about we do this? Girl, simple.
Yeah, that's true. And they know people.
Yeah, I got you, girl. I got you.
Well, you know, it's interesting while we're talking about drug pushers and strippers and crackheads. It seems like teachers don't really have that much morals and ethics either.
Oh my God. Like, okay, I know it's hard right now for some teachers because students are mouthy, they have attitudes, but I mean, that's high school. Here you have an El Paso kindergarten teacher is accused of slapping, pinching, stepping on people's kids. And not only was she arrested one time, she got charged a second time for doing it to another kid. So she just straight up, you know, beating up little kids in elementary school. Like, these kids are barely over the age of 5. And she is roughhousing them.
She does not care. She probably has her tenure. She's probably like, look, I don't care about these kids. I got like one more year until the government pay off my student loans. I'm in the student loan repayment program. I'm just trying to get my check. And people are bothering me today.
I mean, and she's just, can you just imagine someone like just straight up slapping kindergartens? And they probably go home and be like, the teacher slapped me. Well, what did you do?
Yeah.
So, but she was charged by the state grand jury early this month on 2 counts of injury to a child. She got released on a $15,000 bond, but then she went back to jail because a second child that she whooped up on, they charged her with that one. So I mean...
Now, let's do a game.
Okay.
How would you react if you were the mother of one of the kids that got slapped?
It depends on how bad my kid is, because I'm gonna be honest, like, and it's that same thing. Maybe I can whoop his tail, but I believe in that it takes a village to raise a child. Now, if he was acting out and you had to straighten him up, that's understandable. But if he asked for a juice box and you punched him in the stomach, I mean, I got a problem with that. So if it was a disciplinary thing, I can understand a spanking. But if you just straight punching stomachs and karate kicking kids across the room, no, ma'am.
It's always a no for me. Even if it is disciplinary, you don't know how I discipline my child. Maybe I wanted to punch him in the stomach.
That's true. So have them call you up. Mr. Patrick, would you whoop your kid in front of the class?
Right. Yeah, that should
You
be
would?
a decision. Oh, are you
No, I'm
asking
asking,
me?
yeah, would you?
I don't know. I'm not thinking about kids. No.
I mean, just hypothetical. Like, what do you think is more damaging? The physical aspect of it or the embarrassment?
I don't think I would go more for the embarrassment. Like, I'd be the one to just like show up to your class with just, in my robe or something like that, sit in the back of the room,
With your belt.
start clipping my toenails or something.
Not even a belt, like them worn out house shoes. You see people run across the street and they all turned over.
Right.
Black
And make
on the
sure
bottom.
that your robe doesn't have a
string,
string,
right.
so you have to hold it together. Be sitting in the back of class eating some like collard greens or whatever
Breaking some
type of
peas
food
or
that
something
smell.
like that.
Yeah, that smell. Yeah. I would totally do that too.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, my brother Tommy told me that he wasn't doing good in school, and my dad went to school with him every day and just sat in the back of class with him every single day.
Child.
I was like, yo, you couldn't do nothing. He said, I couldn't do nothing. Couldn't holler, couldn't do nothing. And I do that. But no, I actually, when I was in elementary school and I lived in Albany, Georgia, my mentor, I've always had mentors, she was the assistant principal, and they were actually still allowed to whoop kids back then, paddle them. And so I remember she never let me witness the paddling, but she did. I remember I was in her office. She went into this room with this kid, and I just heard pop, pop, and then the kid came out rubbing his arm. And I was like, did you hit him in the arm with the wooden thing? And she gave me this look not to ask any questions.
Oh, wow. Well, I remember in Alabama, I was sitting in the room and the teacher came in there today, and the dude, I remember, was sagging, and the vice principal came out holding his arm. So he did not, and the dude came out, you want some more, old man? And I was like, oh, Lord. So
You got that one.
I think that's when it's time to stop. You may need someone a little stronger than that little alpha,
Right, when
alpha
they start
paddle.
when they start hitting back.
Right.
All right, so maybe you guys have seen this photo circulating around social media. A quote-unquote model, I put that in quotes, because they love to call themselves that after
Models.
they took a couple photos. She messed up her eye completely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so she's into body modification, and her name is Kat
Gallagher.
Gallagher. She's a 24-year-old model from Ottawa, and what she was doing was trying to get the whites in her eyes tattooed purple. Can you guys guess how well this went? Well, it went terrible, like
Yeah.
expected. First of all, I don't even have any tattoos, but I heard it's painful, period, on your skin. So I can't imagine somebody putting a vibrating needle in my eye.
Ew.
But that is what happened, and it was this glowy purple she put in there. And true to form, it did not work. It tore her eye.
And now she's lost vision completely in that eye. So what happened was, first of all, it got super duper infected. The person didn't even do the procedure right, so she didn't go to the right place to get it done. And then later on, I think a day after, with her eye swollen shut, full of infection, purple ooze started running down her face from the eyeball. And now the doctor's saying that she's at risk of permanently losing the vision in her eye. The infection was so bad. So now she's become one of those advocates telling people, don't do it.
Don't get eye tattoos.
Yeah, I mean...
nobody but you needed to know that, honey.
Exactly.
Who raised their hand and said, I can tattoo eyeballs?
Right.
Okay, is this right, Miss BJ? It says her now ex-boyfriend was the one who did it.
Yeah, ex-boyfriend now, yes.
Wait, so was he the boyfriend before or after? Because that makes a difference.
I think he was a boyfriend. You know what? It didn't say.
If it was the ex-boyfriend, did
Why
you
would
let
you
your
go?
ex-boyfriend put a needle in your eye? That was all on purpose.
Right. Maybe if he was the current, he's like, ooh, you know what? We can't seem to see eye to eye. I'm going to
We can't see each other anymore.
relationship. So, and as he left, he was playing some Fetty Wap. But,
These are going so you know where in a handbasket.
but no, come on now. This body modification is getting out of hand. We talked about it on the Real with Rachel D's show before about people getting the, what is it, like the little skull, like
the horns.
the horns, the bumps under their skin. It's getting outrageous. There's other things you can do with your money.
Well, my thing with the eye tattoo is that they have contact lenses that cover your whole
Eye.
eye. So why didn't you just get some of those? Get those specially made. And if those hurt, then just take them out.
Yeah, because they want it permanent. Who permanently wants a purple white part of their eye?
And you're 20, how old is you, 24?
24.
Look, you don't even know half of what you really want in life. I promise you. You probably didn't think this dude who tattooed your eyeball would be your ex-boyfriend afterwards. That is the dumbest personal decision. And I get it. Like, people want to be unique and they want to be different. They want to push the envelope. But at what cost? Like, that didn't even sound right.
It didn't, and it doesn't sound cute. How would you look years later with purple eyes? I would think something's wrong with you.
Yeah. And I mean, how could you not think that it would mess up your eye? Like, the doctors tell you not even to sleep in your contacts, and those are medically made for your eyes.
Dude,
so how could you think
even-
that?
You can't even look at the eclipse without special eyewear, and you want a tattoo on your eye.
Oh, girl.
I don't get that either. Why would you want to live a life of people coming up to you and asking, are you all right? What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Your eyes purple, girl. Where you live?
Well, now she's
something in
getting. I know you got something in. Well, now she's gonna be getting exactly what she wanted, the attention. Because now publicly, because I even seen that Charlamagne the God gave her Donkey of the Day, so that is a nationally syndicated radio show. So now everybody really knows who you are. Your pictures are circulating. You're warning people. Nobody needed that warning but you.
But you.
I did a little bit of research, and a few people I saw who had tattoos like that were people who were in prison.
Yeah.
Well, you probably didn't have nothing else to do but to think to tattoo your eyeballs.
So she's getting what she wanted. Just make sure y'all stand to the right of her. So I mean, but it's she lost her vision in her eye, and her own fault.
Yeah.
It's sad.
And she get a purple eye patch. People can ask
You know
about
what?
that.
I know, right?
Yes.
All right, so moving on. A gambler, this one made me so mad. A gambler hit $1.4 million on a slot machine, but the casino says that the bingo machine malfunctioned, quote unquote, malfunctioned. That would have been a fight.
This happened in my hometown of Alabama. This was at the Wind Creek Casino in Montgomery. So this guy had $5. He put his $5 into an electronic bingo machine, and as soon as he did it, not noises, lights, sirens. And it said that he had won the big one. So it indicated a jackpot of when it finally did the payout of $1,377,000 million. So only thing is, he sat there and they told him to wait. He was like, okay, so he waited. Then they said, okay, just wait maybe 24 hours and then we'll come to you. Well, he waited because it's like, you can wait $1.4 million. I'll wait for as long as you want. Then they finally came to him and said, there's no payout. It was a malfunction. Sorry. And what's so sad is he actually tried to sue the casino in the tribal court of the Porch Band of Creek Indians, but the suit was thrown out because the court declared that it's a sovereign immunity and that the tribe was an independent nation and immune from being sued. So he even asked for proof that the machine malfunctioned. They wouldn't give him anything.
Immune from being sued
because sovereign immunity because they were on tribal lands.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that.
All I know is it would be a lot of broken chairs, a lot of other machines.
I know
would be
I'd
broken.
still be standing there right now.
Yes, sir. I'd just child, please.
That's all right. Well, I'll take this tablecloth.
I'm taking the bucket that the coins go in. I mean, that's $1.4 million.
I probably would have gotten into a fight and then be smiling in my mugshot. I feel like everybody would understand. And they were like, this person, assault and battery, because somebody said that she won $1 million, and then they told me it was a mistake. Oh, yeah. I would have been fighting that day.
I mean, no. I think they were just honestly, I mean, like they said, he asked to provide proof that it was not working, and they just basically didn't give him anything. So I think they didn't expect anyone to win that money because they didn't want to get up off that money.
What court did he take it to? I feel like you can take that to a higher court.
I don't know.
I don't know how it works with
the Porch Band. So the guy that hit it, his name is Jerry Rape.
What?
Yeah. It says
Wait, spell that.
Jerry Rape, R-A-P-E, had hit the big one.
That's unfortunate.
And they said he waited 24 hours and he ate the payout ticket that showed what he won. And they, like he said, he took him to court and they was just like, no. So
yeah, I would go higher than that. I would find any lawyer would be willing to take that on for 10%. I would so go higher than that.
I'm sorry. I would have been running with wolves that night, y'all. Y'all gonna give me my money.
All right, so moving on. A woman was attacked after asking teens to be quiet in the movie theater.
Okay,
that's why people need to beat their children.
I saw this. This poor little lady went out with her friends for a night on the town. Okay, so this is what happened. This happened in Lakewood, Colorado. A woman was taken to the hospital after she was assaulted outside of a movie theater. So what happened was she went to the movie with some of her girlfriends, and a small group of teens were there acting out of control. They were crawling all over the seats. They were yelling back and forth across the theater. So the lady asked the group several times, just, please be quiet. Then she finally turned around and yelled at them to shush. And then the security guard eventually quieted the teens. So what happened was when the lady left the theater with her friends, one of the teens confronted her. And then, she's like, I guess you told me to be quiet in the theater. And then she proceeded to punch the woman several times in her face and head. So the teen said that the reason she did it is because the woman called her ghetto. And when the news cameras asked her, did you call her ghetto? She said, I probably did call the teen that. So after they whooped up on the woman, she said the teens ran off and the lady was taken to the hospital with a fractured nose, several bruises, and scratches. But no charges have been filed because they're still investigating the incident. So, I mean, who was at fault here?
The teens, all the way.
Definitely. Even if someone calls you ghetto, if you're acting ghetto, don't be upset when someone calls you ghetto. If you're up in the movie theater acting loud, these people paid their money just like you did. You up in there acting crazy with your bonnet on. You know what?
Yeah. And also, there's a way to respond to things.
Right.
Like you said. Like an example, I was at a work event, a staff development day, and there was this presentation going on. The lights were down. I just didn't feel like watching. So I'm on my phone and I'm on social media. With my particular job, I'm allowed to be. And so the old lady next to me was like, if you're going to be on your phone next to me, you need to turn it down. Something like that. It was how she said it. And it really annoyed me because I felt like she was snapping on me. Now, my first initial reaction was to turn to her and say, first of all.
Uh-oh.
But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to remove myself. And I did. I got up and I moved. And so, because I interpreted it as her snapping on me, because that's what it came off on. She later found me and she apologized. She was like, I didn't mean it that way. She was like, the light was very, very bright and I just didn't want you to get in trouble. So sometimes, you got to take that step back, realize where you are, how you're going to react, and is it worth it? Now, if I would have popped off on that lady, I would have been in trouble, and it would have looked very silly on my part. And that's something that you learn when you're an adult. As a kid and a teen, you think you're invincible. You're going to beat down everybody. Please.
And what I don't like is you have teens like this. You say, do this, do that. Their parents just as ghetto as they are. And that's crazy. So I'm like, well, I got to fight the whole family now.
Mom show up in the bigger bonnet.
Right.
Right. You told my daughter she would ghetto. Yes.
I got your ghetto. And I got your ghetto.
Right. And that's what I'm like, oh, Lord, just throw the buttery popcorn on the ground so they can slip and fall in them house shoes and get out. Run, girl.
All right. So moving on. I have mixed feelings about this.
Yeah.
Considering how I just had a fairy tale wedding of my own.
Mm-hmm.
A woman has a quote-unquote fairy tale wedding without her prince because she married herself.
Yes. So I don't know if you guys did follow our Facebook, but you should. And one of the things that I saw, they call this, like we've heard of polygamy, monogamy, but they call this I don't know how you say it, polygamous, but it's basically someone who vows to just be by themselves. This woman, it's an Italian woman, she had broken the tradition by marrying herself. And it came after she was in a 12-year relationship that ended in 2015. And that's where she got the idea of marrying herself.
Wait, so if you slip up and start a relationship with somebody, do you have to go to court and absolve your marriage to yourself and pay into that?
Now that, I don't know. I mean, and do you do a prenup?
Right.
Well, here's the thing. Clearly, she couldn't marry herself, but I understand where she's coming with this. With women, certain things, there's a clock to it.
Yeah.
Now, not necessarily marriage, but like kids. To me, and I tell my friends this, you're reaching your upper 30s and you single and stuff, you better start trapping some people. Like, don't, and I know it sounds so terrible. Like, you got a husband, so you should be getting to the business. But, with women, you can miss that window. And I know women who've missed that window, waiting for the guy, waiting for the relationship.
Janet
and
Jackson?
they're mad about it. Well, Janet didn't miss the window because she had the baby. But I know some people in particular we work with who has missed that window waiting on somebody who can shoot out babies until they're like 90 years old. And it's like, just go and get you one. Figure it out later. And that's kind of what you have to do. With my wedding, I felt like it was just the funnest party I've ever thrown.
Oh,
and
it was fun too.
Thank you. And I enjoyed that. Like, I knew I was there for the wedding and the marriage and stuff like that. But it's like, why do certain people have to miss out on things because you didn't find the right guy at the right time?
Right. And that's what she said. She said she's 40. And she said that she promised to wed herself if she didn't find the perfect partner. So what I don't get though, Rachel, okay, here, because it is overseas, they said she spent, the British pound, 8,700 pounds, which turns out to be over $100,000 US on this wedding. And she took herself on a honeymoon to Egypt.
Nice. I don't know. That must be nice. And I'm all for solo trips, by the way. But my thing is, why does it have to be a wedding though? Why can't you just throw a party? Why does it have to be under the guise of being a wedding or having a wedding dress? I guess I don't have an issue with anything that anybody does personally in their own lives because you can do whatever you want to do. But I guess if I were to take issue with the situation, my issue would be more with the fact that she mentally is conditioned to feel like she has to have a wedding at some point, as opposed to just saying, hey, I love myself and I'm single and I'm gonna go down to the bank real quick and get me a freeze away dad and have a kid. Right. And I'm just gonna have a big party. I'm gonna have a big party for my friends and we're gonna do this thing. Why does it have to be
a wedding?
At some point I have to have a man and I have to get married. Well, that didn't happen, so I'm just gonna have a wedding by myself. I don't know.
Well, I think it would have always been viewed that way because it's like, as a person who recently wore a wedding dress, I felt so regal, like you feel like royalty. And sometimes people want that feeling. It's not a society thing. It's just that if she would have wore that white dress and went into a party, it would have been seen as a wedding.
But it is a society thing though, because it's how people are taught to view that dress. I mean, you can feel just as regal walking down the street in a bikini if you want to. I mean,
yeah, because I slay everywhere I go. I kind of feel regal.
Right.
So I mean, it is a society thing. I mean, it's not to take away. It's not to take away from people who want to have a wedding. If you want to have a wedding, have a wedding. But I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be that big of a deal for everyone. I know lots of people who don't want to get married, and that's cool. Like, and some people that don't necessarily need the wedding, just want to go down to the courthouse and get it done, and they're done with it, and that's cool. Like,
yeah, but I feel like, just like you said, people should do what they want. Yeah. And she could have done that. She could have not did any of that. But, you know, because I do have some friends who are engaged, and people always have their opinions about what they would rather spend their money on. I'd rather buy a house. I'd rather do this and that. And it's like, do what's right with you, because I hate regrets. I have no regrets about why I did. And I was never that girl who thought about weddings. Never. If you'd have asked me my future, this is my future real quick. I was the CEO of a company. I had this well-tailored pinstripe black suit. Even when I was pregnant, there was like a little cute little bump and everything.
Oh,
and
Nico.
Yeah, no. And I'm running the place. Like, I can honestly say, because if you know my mother, that was never I wasn't raised to make sure that you get a man and you know how to cook. Like, it wasn't my thing. Like, when it was time for wedding planning, I panicked, because I'm like, I don't know any of this. I never thought about it.
Right.
But, you know, it is a good celebration. So, you know, there's no pressure or nothing, but sometimes I deal with people who try to talk you out of it. So they be like, well, me and my husband, we went to Vegas with 20 people and we've been married 40 years. Why you got to do this? Why you got to do that?
And they
It's
want to
like,
impose what they did on you, but if it's your vision, then, you know, have
and that's
your
her
vision.
money. Now, I wouldn't spend $100,000, but I guess if I was worth millions, maybe I would. But then again, if you have $100,000 to throw at a wedding, how could you not find a man? There's at least some type of gold digger dude who would have been like, get with you.
But I'm curious, after a 12-year relationship,
Whose fault is that, by the way?
That her relationship ended?
No, that she's been with this man for 12 years and it didn't come to marriage sooner than that.
I don't know, because
both of their faults.
Yeah, she got money.
Because I'm thinking, because I know some people, my husband's friends, girlfriends or whatever, been with their dudes for 7-8 years. And of course they come to me and they're like, well, how did you do it? And I'm like, because first of all, I ain't gonna be nobody's girlfriend for no 7-8 years.
No.
Like, I don't love nobody that much. I love me that much. And it's like, you know, it gets to a point where it's like, whose fault is it? The guy, if he don't want to get married, like, he's gonna stay as long as you'll stay. But if you know that that's how you feel, waiting it out to 10, 12 years, you setting yourself up.
Yeah. Well, it's like what you said. I think it's about communication. Like, if that is what you want in the cards for you, to communicate that with somebody that you're in a relationship with is important. Because it's not, like I said, it's not what everybody idolizes. It's not what everybody wants. So if you want to be married at some point and have a family, you have to communicate that with someone, because the person that you're with may not necessarily want that.
Yeah. Do you think that they don't, or do you think that they don't communicate that, or do you think that they just kind of hope that the time will change their mind?
I think it's both. I think it, because, I mean, if we want to get into the sociology of it, I think that we like to think that we're so progressive and that we're so past like old ways of thinking, but I think largely our society is still very what's the word I'm looking for? Puritanical and very traditional. And I think that a lot of women in relationships still feel as if they have to be passive about what they want, and they can't be direct about what they want. Yeah. And not just women, I mean men too. But I mean, I think that so I think that a lot of times you just don't communicate what you want, and like you said, just hope that somebody will ask you to marry.
I think that, speaking of conditioning, I think that women, we still are kind of in this mindset of being patient and not being, you know, upfront about what it is that we want, like you said.
Let me tell you a story.
Let me turn the backtrack down.
There was this woman I knew a few years ago. She was that same type of way. She was very patient, hoping the situation that she was in would change. She never really spoke on it. And what happened was absolutely nothing. It went nowhere. Years in a relationship that went nowhere. But let me tell you, something happened and this woman changed. And when she decided to, you know what? I'm tired of not speaking my mind. From this day forward, I'm going to say what's in my mind, do what I want. And instead of sit back hoping and wishing for something to happen, I'm going to get up and I'm going to make it happen. So she took a little sabbatical on a health break. And when she came back in 2017, not only did she come back happier, healthier, but this chick ended up getting married to a pretty daggone awesome individual. So I can actually say that if you sit back and hope and wait, sometimes your goal or whatever you want to happen, your dream will stay a dream and will never become a reality. But the moment you put it into action, start speaking up about what you want and being very, very verbal about what you want and put your own actions to work, things will happen for you and you will eventually get what you want and you'll meet someone of like mind. Like, I'm thinking honestly with homegirl right here, the relationship just ended basically 2015. As Rachel D knows, it takes a little minute to plan a wedding. So I'm thinking maybe she wanted to be married. The guy, maybe she was pressuring him. I'm just, thinking. And he was like, look, I want nothing to do with this. And that might have been why they broke up, because shortly after they broke up, she started planning this wedding to marry herself. So maybe she already had the dress in mind. She already knew where she wanted to take the honeymoon. He just didn't want to be her husband. And because he wasn't ready, I don't see why not after 12 years. So she decided to marry herself. But I think what she's missing is some people get so caught up in the wedding that they completely miss the message of the marriage.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want that. They want the wedding, but they don't want, like, after the wedding is over with, if you haven't worked on the marriage, what's next?
Yeah. By the way, that person sounds very interesting. We should get her on the show one day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm down. We really should. But here's the thing, and I love that we're kind of debating this whole thing. What do you think about people who...
She's reaching for this one. Hang on.
Yeah, she's thinking hard. She's pulling from...
Yeah, okay. What do you think about men... or women, because I do know a couple, who have conceived children with somebody, but then they say, I can't marry you because I have commitment issues. Wouldn't you think the biggest commitment is bringing a human being in this world?
Yeah, but at the same time, if one slips past, that's kind of, you can't, unless it was like a complete accident.
Yeah.
Because sometimes things happen, but the commitment issue is, what?
Because here's the thing.
Commitment issues? Me
and Miss BJ are both married with no kids. If we decide to, knock on wood, but if we decide to...
Oh, I want babies.
No, to get, to get out of our marriages right now, we can divorce, like clean our Facebooks off any photos. Nobody, if you didn't know us, would not know our past if we didn't want them to know it.
Right.
But people with kids, like I know people who have kids with an S, with the same person, and they live together, and they're like, I can't marry you, I got commitment issues. You bought a house and you have kids. Like, I'm missing the commitment issue.
That's because I think that's a cop-out. It's not that you have commitment issues. It's like once you actually make the sound decision to say, this is what I'm doing, they feel like they can't get out of it. As long as you say, I have commitment issues, that kind of gives you like a little free pass to kind of, keep your foot in this household, but then kind of keep your foot in that little single lane as well. I think to me, it just sounds like a little bit of a cop-out. It's like when your teacher give you the hall pass, you're supposed to go to the bathroom, but you go to your friend's class, hey girl, come on, let's walk the hallway. So,
really, BJ?
I'm just saying, it gives you a little leeway to, step outside of the relationship.
Maybe. I can agree with that. Me personally, I'm all for mating based on genetics, so whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mama did say she didn't want no ugly grandbabies, so I had to put
and
some
that's
good thought in that.
You have to really pay attention to who you have kids with, because sometimes they might not be who you think they are. Then the moment you get them pregnant, you be like, oh my God, I did not realize you was crazy.
But here's my thing. I feel like they always know, unless you got pregnant soon. Like, there's always the crazy. That's why you hear about it later. You know, it's like the gunman. Everybody's like, oh my God, he was so nice. And then as time goes on, they'll be like, well, you know, it was that one time.
Yeah,
And
he
did
pulled a
say-
gun because, you know, we wanted hamburgers and he wanted hot dogs.
I know, right? I hit him with that Uno, that draw forward, and all of a sudden he like, you know, it's like that. The crazy's always there. It's just
Yeah,
that we want to
that's
ignore it.
true.
We give people the benefit of the doubt. Or sometimes men love it. Like, I know some guys, they girlfriends will cuss everybody out, and they think it's sexy until they cuss them out. And
They're
all of a
like,
sudden,
"Man,
she
she
crazy.
crazy."
She always been crazy. What you talking about?
Like people who say, oh, he loved me, girl, because, you know, he always following, asking who that is on Facebook, or asking me where I'm at, or popping up at my job, talking about, I thought, you know, you were supposed to be working late and hiding in the bushes. No, he is obsessed with you and possessive. So it also, what do you really want in a relationship? If you don't want a commitment, then don't act in a commitment role. Like, don't do things a committed person will do and then say, oh, I'm afraid of commitment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I
Like,
don't
have
get
a
that.
baby, people.
Yeah, and live with the person. Don't say I love you, because saying I love you to a person is a form of commitment. You know. It's
So
interesting.
yeah, I wish we could reach this woman, especially if she got $100,000 to blow on a wedding. We
Yeah.
really need to reach this
Child,
woman.
she on her honeymoon in Egypt. But my thing, wouldn't that be a sad, lonely honeymoon night?
Not really.
No, like I said, I'm seriously, I'm all for solo vacations. I think those are greght.
But in a wedding dress, like who?
Well, no, I hope you didn't get on the plane in a wedding dress, and that would look kind of lonely.
And then she kept a little topper to the cake. Like, you put that in the freezer. It just had one little
I'm gonna
solo
eat this
bride
of the
on
year.
there.
Oh, Jesus. But one more crazy story, guys. This one's gross. It is a teacher allegedly contaminated students' flutes with his semen.
Yes,
that's
and this
cold.
happened across over 13 school districts in Southern California. Had to call and warn parents that the flutes and the recorders that were given to their children through a nonprofit music program may have been contaminated with a music teacher's bodily fluids. So, and what's so sad about this, everyone in Southern California had to pull together. The local, state, and federal agencies started investigating a male music teacher who had visited these schools through a program called Flutes Across the World. So, according to updates, they said that he distributed flute-like musical instruments made of PVC pipe or bamboo to students during a music lesson. And the allegation is that he contaminated some of these instruments with his own bodily fluid. So they're deeply concerning, and they're raising many questions. So what they started saying is that anyone who was a part of this program, verbatim, the Sagas District urged students who had an instrument from the Flutes Across the World program to place it inside a paper bag and contact your local sheriff's office so they can see if it was contaminated. But I mean, honestly, the horror of it has already. Here comes a little.
To see if it's contaminated, you need to throw that away. What, you gonna give it back to me when you say no,
Right.
it's not? I don't want that.
Exactly.
I mean, and that's how could you explain? I mean, the sickness. But they did say that the music teacher did not spend any like one-on-one time with the students. He just simply created these flute-like instruments and flutes
Whacked
across
off
the
in 'em.
world. That's what I don't get. How did this even happen?
So, like,
How long
were
has
you?
it? That was never mind.
What? What?
I mean, I mean, how many flutes was it? That would take like
Over
a lot of.
13 school districts in Southern California.
District. So what did he do? Just lay the flutes out and just start going to town?
I don't know. Maybe he tripped and fell, but in a box or something. I mean, but the fact, it's just weird and it's wrong. And I don't know. Is this, they didn't even say who the guy was. Is this Jared from Subway?
Probably. Let me ask y'all something hypothetical. If you were one of the students, let's say you're not like a little kid, let's say like in middle school where you know what the deal is, would you want to know? Let's say the parents know, but would you want to know if you had just finished playing your flute? Would you want to know what the deal is?
Yes, because when
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning with a skittle on the top of my lip, I'm going to want to know what happened. Where did this come from?
I don't know if I want to know. Take the instrument and say it's been contaminated. I don't think I really want to know the details.
But kids these days, they're going to Google what's wrong with my flute. I mean, all I would do, I would walk into the room in a hazmat suit, take the flute from my child, and then take them to the dentist and get them the full cleaning, like the $28 special or whatever. You know, the UV light, everything. I mean, I can smell lawsuit in this.
But what happened to the teacher? Did they say he got arrested?
He investigated. So, because he could easily say, I didn't do it, but they're probably going to do, you know,
DNA
that's why they're
swab.
trying to put the flutes in bags, because they're going to investigate to see if it, you know.
How did, like, there's so many questions to this. How was somebody tipped off? Did somebody, like, blow the flute, lift their lips, and, like...
I don't know. I think maybe
Familiar
they
taste.
say, I don't know what's wrong with this. It's stuck to my hand and I can't put it down. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know who discovered it. And why would they go that direction? Because it could have been anything. So,
Yeah.
it's just gross.
I understand the flute-like part. Like, why would I play something that was flute-like?
A PVC pipe or bamboo. I mean, come on.
Right.
Oh, so it wasn't really flute.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
it said a flute-like instrument.
what I look like playing a PVC pipe in front of people.
Exactly.
Like, I'm like, what is... And then it leads me to believe, like, did he do this to, like, the poor children?
That might be it.
So this is all...
Maybe he tried to stuck his thing in one of the
I have no
pipes.
idea, but these kids deserve better than a PVC pipe or bamboo like flute, and then they definitely deserve better than some weird teacher who, you know.
What is with people sharing their bodily fluids with the world?
I have no. What do you get out of it?
I don't know. I was actually watching something today on a YouTube channel called he's Matthew Santora, and the name of it was like it was Watch Mojo, and the name of the video was top 10 biggest mistakes teachers made. And at the end of it, they said the number one was the teacher who put semen in the kids' cookies and gave it to them to eat. And I'm like, what mistake? Like, that is not a mistake. But the thing is, they didn't know, but he was taking pictures of the kids and went to get them developed at like
Eating
CVS.
cookies?
Yeah.
No, where's the teacher? They need the teacher who was punching kindergartners in the stomach to come attack these other teachers.
I agree.
Because it's just so weird. These days, I just hope and pray. Maybe we know about it now because there's internet. But if any of my teachers in the past, like Rachel said, I don't know. I don't want to know. I'm good to go.
Just teach your kids. If you don't see it come out of a pack, don't eat it.
Well, you know what that is? Now they don't take any home-baked food at schools now. It has to come, in a sealed container, unopened.
Well, that's fine because my mom was never one of those people. I was like, Mommy, you gonna bake cupcakes for the class? No.
Are you in school still?
When you get out my house.
Right, exactly. And then you try to guilt trip her. Well, Sally Sue's mom is a stay-at-home mom. Well, I'm paying the bills. Okay, I got it. I got it. And my mom would never do fundraisers either. I'm like, Mom, we got to sell these cookies. How much money you need?
Right.
Like, it's not about the money. I'm trying to be like everybody else. But now I understand that, so I plan on being the same parent. Like, no, I don't even know how to bake anyway. So we're gonna take these Kroger
the kind
cookies.
of mom Rachel D is gonna be when she has her daughter. So she's like, okay, so parent-teacher night, Rachel D is gonna have on some stilettos, and she's gonna, excuse me. So do we have to sit at these lunchroom tables? Are there any? So she is going to, but that's the thing. You have to treat your child how you want them to be: strong, independent, Black woman who demands respect. And she's not gonna be showing up in no half open robe with a bonnet on her head.
I might. It depends. If my child acts out, I'm gonna give you that same energy. Now, if you want to act like a princess, I'm gonna treat you like one. Now, if you want to act like a hood rat, I got something for you.
You know what?
And I'm gonna have Austin. Did I tag out to that video? Yeah, I'm gonna have Austin show up. He gonna act a fool. He's more likely to do that one.
See, I can't wait to see the parent version of the Sanders.
Oh, but we should talk about Miss BJ. I think, Pat, you saw it during the fight night. She was so motherly, and the baby was just resting up under her arm. And then, look, she multitasked. She was stroking the baby with one arm and then stroking my poor little dog with the other one after he done got beat up by the little babies.
Poor Ron. He was traumatized.
He was. All right, guys, you're listening to The Real with Rachel D. Make sure you keep it here with us. We have more show coming up, and we have another mix by DJ Specs. Keep it here. All right, guys, welcome back to The Real with Rachel D. That was another great mix by my brother, DJ Specs. Here with Miss BJ. Hello. And P Money.
Hey. Oh, sorry.
All right, so we're about to get into the Petty Betty Awards, but we need a little background on one of the nominations.
Sure.
Miss BJ.
So, this last week they had if you grew up watching television shows in the 90s, you know everyone had their lineup, you know. So one of the shows that I grew up watching was Family Matters. That's where, you know, Urkel and Laura. So one of the Entertainment Weekly just recently had a reunion on the cover of Family Matters. But one person was missing, and that was Judy Winslow. And if y'all have been watching the show, Judy Winslow was Laura's little sister who made that one trip upstairs and never came back down for the rest of the entirety of the show. So if you don't realize, her character was nixed out of the show after 4 seasons because they found out that she had acted in quite a few adult film, you know, entertainment, or, you know, the adult industry. So what happened was she is really good friends with the guy they call Waldo, who was the brother's friend. He contacted her and was like, look, did you get invited to Entertainment Weekly? We're about to do a family reunion shoot. And she was like, I wasn't invited at all. I wasn't even contacted. And she was like, you know, then she started to feel some kind of way. So that's when she reached out and it was like, if they want to use adult films as the reason why I'm not being contacted, I'm not the first person to do an adult film and I won't be the last. She said that she's just a regular person trying to live a fulfilling life. She's not that girl anymore. Judy and Family Matters, they don't define me. What defines me is how my son turns out. I don't want people to look at my past and even in this situation to judge me. I'm extremely happy in the place that I am right now, and I'm just trying to live my best life. So, what do you guys think? Should they, the fact they did write her out of the show quick.
Well, did they do the photo shoot in front of the stairs? I think that's a good way to like combine the two.
Like that's the last place you've seen.
Right.
Got it.
It was sad. I thought that was kind of petty.
It might have been, but I have a mixed feelings about the people who do stuff and they're like, that was in my past. And it's like, when it's something big like porn or murder or something like that, where it's like,
is porn that big though? How long did the show go on?
It went on for several seasons.
Yeah.
She was on for 4, so like how many more seasons? I never watched it.
I think it was like 7
seasons.
Right?
But my
so
question
she was there
is,
for the better part of it.
Was she doing the acting while she was on the show? Because, child, you already had a job.
No, I think it was after. I forgot why she got let go. But to me, you have to understand you do have an image. It doesn't have to be that good girl. What was her last name? They weren't the Huxtables, but you know what I mean? The Winslow image. But you want to be an actress, and once you busting it wide open, you just, you know.
It could have been a learning moment. Laura, this is why you'll never have a man, and Judy will. But it could have been a teachable moment. Unlike now, like we realized, like in the 90s, everything was a lot different than now. Now everyone has a sex tape.
Right.
It's so many people on the Disney Channel. They probably got stuff coming out now, child.
Yeah. But and I also think it's kind of. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I also think it's kind of a double standard too, because I'm pretty sure if they had a Saved by the Bell reunion, they'd invite Screech on.
Right.
They didn't. They didn't.
Oh, they didn't?
Yeah, they had to say it was a mini little thing on somebody's show.
Uh-huh.
They didn't invite. Screech wasn't there, and Lisa Voorhees. You remember her, Turtle?
Yeah, Lisa Turtle.
Yeah, she said she didn't come, but she was invited. But no, they didn't invite Screech.
What about?
Was he invited though, or did he just not?
He
show
wasn't
up?
invited.
Okay.
Because he said something about it.
What about the girl with some Showgirls? That movie was horrible.
Oh yeah.
So that's crazy.
All right, so let's talk about the Petty Betty nominees.
All right, so Petty Betty nominees for this week, we have, like I said, Family Matters, Entertainment Weekly, Solo Bride. I think she was being a little petty because after a bad relationship, a 12-year relationship that did not culminate into a marriage, she was like, you know what? I'm just going to marry myself. And we have the daggone casino in Alabama for that guy who won his $1.4 million. Then all of a sudden they was like, it malfunctioned.
Right.
We're closed. Goodbye. Hurry up and bye. So who do you guys think?
I'm going to go with the casino.
All right. While I understand why they did not invite her, I am going to go with Family Matters.
I'm going to kind of go with Family Matters too. And, I didn't select the winner. So we're going to go with Entertainment Weekly. Family Matters is the petty winner of the.
I won. Oh, hold on. Is somebody going to do a speech?
I'm gonna let Patrick.
You got
I
1
have a
minute.
speech for this.
I might have one. Hold
Okay,
on.
yeah.
I just want to thank anybody who's watched her sex tape, including the execs over at US Weekly who did not put her on the cover. But that's okay because Steve Urkel looked good and, you know, they brought back the original mom.
They
So,
sure
hey.
did. Even though Laura I didn't know who Laura Windsor was.
All right, we got to do real quick. Miss BJ, what is your hashtag of the week?
Hashtag of the week is soda, like a pop or a drink. Example, girl, did I tell you what happened? I didn't listen. So the other day, what had happened was, so guys, the hashtag is soda.
All right, hashtag soda. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining The Real with Rachel D. We are here every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on WATB 1420. For Miss BJ and P Money, I'm your girl, Rachel D. Real quick, go on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at The Real with Rachel D. And we will check you guys again next week.